Hello and good night. Welcome to another bedtime story. This story is meant to help you sleep or to relax your mind. Try and find a comfortable place, such as your bed or a soft chair. If you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes now. Try and let go of the day as we begin our tale. Tonight's story is The Elves and the Shoemaker. Once upon a time, in a small town, there lived a kind and humble shoemaker with his wife. He was a skilled craftsman, but times were hard and he had grown very poor. Despite his hard work, he could barely make enough money to buy materials. One evening, he found he had only enough leather left to make a single pair of shoes. With a heavy heart, he carefully cut out the pieces of leather, preparing them for stitching the next morning. Then, he placed them neatly on his workbench and went to bed, hoping that tomorrow would bring better fortune. He lay awake for some time, thinking about his misfortunes before finally falling into a restless sleep. The next morning, to his amazement, a beautiful pair of shoes stood on his workbench. The stitching was impeccable, the design was exquisite, and the leather polished to perfection. The shoemaker was astounded, for he knew he had not yet started his work. He examined the shoes closely, marveling at the delicate craftsmanship and wondering who could have done such work. Just then, a wealthy customer entered the shop. Seeing the fine craftsmanship, he eagerly bought the shoes for a high price. With this money, the shoemaker was able to buy more leather, enough for 2 pairs of shoes. That night, he cut the leather as before and left it on the workbench, once again hoping for a miracle. The following morning, the shoemaker again discovered 2 perfectly made pairs of shoes. He looked around the shop in disbelief, scratching his head in amazement. Before he could even wonder who had made them, another customer arrived and purchased them both for a generous sum. With growing excitement, the shoemaker bought even more leather, and once again the miraculous work repeated itself night after night. The shoemaker laid out the leather, and each morning he found beautifully crafted shoes ready for sale. Soon, he and his wife prospered, and their worries faded away. They could afford better meals, warm clothes for the winter, and even small luxuries they had long forgotten. However, the shoemaker remained curious about his mysterious helpers. Who could be doing this? He wondered aloud. His wife, equally intrigued, suggested they hide in the workshop to uncover the mystery. That evening, after setting out the leather, they concealed themselves behind a curtain and waited. As the clock struck midnight, 2 tiny figures appeared. Elves. They were small, nimble, and wore ragged clothes, but their fingers worked skillfully, stitching and shaping the leather with precision and care. The shoemaker and his wife watched in awe as the little creatures completed their work in silence, their hands moving with astonishing speed. By dawn, they had finished their work and disappeared into the night. The shoemaker and his wife were touched by the elves' kindness and wanted to repay them. His wife suggested making clothes for the little creatures, for their current attire was tattered and worn. "They have done so much for us," she said. "It is only fair that we do something kind for them in return." And so they set to work. The shoemaker sewed tiny, finely stitched shoes, and his wife made small suits, shirts, and warm cloaks. They worked diligently, ensuring every piece of clothing was made with the same love and care the elves had put into their shoes. Finally, they wrapped the garments neatly and placed them on the workbench instead of leather. At midnight, the elves appeared once more. Upon seeing the gifts, their eyes shone with joy. They dressed in their new clothes, admiring their fine fit and craftsmanship. They twirled, hopped, and danced around the workshop, laughing happily. Then, hand in hand, they leaped through the window and disappeared into the night, never to return. Though the elves never came back, the shoemaker's fortune continued to grow. His business flourished, and he never struggled again. He and his wife often thought of the little helpers who had changed their lives, always grateful for their kindness. Over time, the shoemaker passed his trade down to his children, teaching them the importance of generosity and hard work. The shoemaker and his wife were forever grateful for the kindness of the elves and the lesson they had learned from them. Most of all, that good deeds, when repaid with gratitude and kindness, bring true happiness. And the shoemaker, his wife, and their children lived happily ever after. The end. Thank you for listening to this bedtime story. I hope you enjoyed the tale tonight. If you did, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more audiobooks and tales to come. Until next time.